Alright, we're gonna make it official now. Welcome to Capcom vs. Konami version 3.0. Resuming the series that I started back in 2017, playing Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge on Game Boy, which, if I'm not mistaken, is game 111 of the series. Okay, this got released in 91. I thought it was actually newer than that, like 93 or even 94. This is the second game of this Castlevania trilogy that they released on the Game Boy. And here you can choose between four initial stages before getting to, I think, Dracula's castle immediately, making it a total of 5 stages in total if my memory doesn't fail. Each of them are different buildings, different castles, named after different elements. I'm starting with this one, not necessarily because it's the easiest one. I think in terms of difficulty they are pretty much similar. All of them hard levels. And already getting my ass kicked. Well, that's why I have never, and I will never, I'm pretty convinced by now, that I will never beat a Castlevania game legitimately. So, save states obviously will be used constantly in this playthrough, or whatever Castlevania game I play for that matter. I think like the only Castlevania game that I was like closest to beating legit, and I probably could do it if I really commit to it, is Rondo of Blood on TurboGrafx. But honestly, Castlevania series, it's a series of games that I have never considered myself good at, and honestly, I'm not like super interested in becoming good at. Same thing I said about Ghosts and Goblins series, and actually there were a couple of those games that I beat legit, assuming they were as difficult as this one. But I still think Castlevania is a step or two harder than Ghosts and Goblins or Ghosts and Ghosts, depending on what game. Basically because those games were based on arcades, the Ghosts and Goblins series. Okay, I have to make saves more often. And I have to concentrate also. Concentrate more on playing properly more than just talking shit that nobody's interested in. But anyway, I like to play some Castlevania every now and then. So that's why I bothered to include the Castlevania series, at least some of my favorite titles of the series in these shows. And I have done actually multiple Castlevania games on camera. I have done the first one multiple times, I have done Castlevania 3 a couple of times, Castlevania 4 too, and I think I have done Dracula X in some live stream years ago. Rondo of Blood, yes, I have done it all the way through. Chronicles also, it's a game that I have done. Okay, I forgot that in that part actually you have to like drop quickly before the spikes get you. They don't insta-kill you, but they take a shit ton of health out of you, so... And as far as I have noticed, there are no health pickups in the middle of the levels. Okay. If they make you go all the way up here, it's because it's something valuable. No, it's a little hard. Are you serious? Well, the other Castlevania game that I have done on camera multiple times, but cheating all the way through, is Haunted Castle, the arcade version to Castlevania. That even till this day, a lot of people think that game is like a ripoff of Castlevania. I remember that on my streams, like people calling it a rip-off of Castlevania, and they had no idea it's an official Castlevania game under a different title. It's a terrible game. Actually, they recently released, well, I don't know how recent as such, but I think it was last year, they released a re-release or a remake of the arcade game for the PC. So I would like to try that one out, see if... I mean, it better be a more enjoyable game than the arcade. Well, you can kind of deduce from all the comments I have made that I like Castlevania, but I just don't consider myself good at it. Okay, when you cross a door, more than likely you hit a checkpoint, and when there is a change of music, it's because it's basically the pre-boss room. This first boss is quite simple. As you can see, all you need to do is hit the crystal that appears and then escape from the lighting and the fire. Well, in terms of gameplay, this follows pretty much the same mechanics, or very similar mechanics to the first Castlevania game for the Game Boy, the Castlevania Adventure. Character is a lot slower than the NES or Super Nintendo games, for example. But you can get sub-weapons as well, and it's got the power-up system based on the orbs that you collect. I mean, you collect an orb that upgrades your whip and allows you to shoot fireballs. That's not a thing that happens, at least on the console games as far as I remember. But in the Game Boy games, at least these first two, it happens. And I think it happens too in the third Castlevania game for the Game Boy, which is Castlevania Legends. Even though you can choose here the stages you want to play, I guess we're going to go for the select or the suggested location. So, welcome to the Rock Castle. I don't know if there is a suggested order, a particular order to follow. Okay, I want to keep the axe, so that's why I'm making the holy water disappear. In a way, this game, even though it follows the basic premise of a Castlevania, not all of the levels take place in the Castle of Dracula, which is something that we saw more often in some of the later Castlevania games. For instance, the Bloodlines, even Castlevania 4 was like that. Like the first half took place like in outside locations and other places surrounding the Castle of Dracula. But in here it's just different castles, like multiple castles, each of them different from one another, but still following the same premise of basically being inside of a building with different creatures and traps to deal with. I do remember this section quite well, even though it's been like 8 years since I played this game on Twitch before I abandoned the series. Like, I remember playing through the first 4 stages. I don't have a recording for that, otherwise I would upload it. I would have uploaded that. Same thing happened with the Mega Man 3 Game Boy recording. That's why I replayed it. Which I don't regret. Probably the Castlevania, you know, the Game Boy games are, even though they do look a little tough, but it feels it's a game that you have to like practice a little bit, and you can master it probably in less time than some of the console games. That's the impression I've got. I already played through these first 2 levels like off camera in order to test it out. The controls and all that. That's why it doesn't seem like I've been struggling too much. And it seems at times that like I know what I'm doing. But that's just only gonna happen in these first couple stages. Then you will see me struggle like crazy. Well, that's essentially why I have my save states ready, so I don't struggle much. Okay, this part is bullshit. Yeah, I mean, I was like almost praising the game for being sort of fair at times. But yeah, this going dark shit, it's complete bullshit in my opinion, because the lights do not turn on until you reach a specific point, and sometimes you have to like pretty much know exactly where the pit is and jump over it. There's no way to tell in advance, so for those who play the game for the first time, it's gonna be nightmares. But this is all about memorization, that's the thing. I still consider it not complete bullshit. I know there is another pit after this. The thing is, there is no way to see it until you actually make the jump and go for it. And I think there is another one. See? Basically the only way of turning the lights on is to guess where the pit is and make the jump. Probably my dog is gonna bark anytime now because they are ringing the bell outside. My mom is gonna see who it is. I mean, we know who it is. It's some delivery groceries and stuff. Okay, can I go all the way down here? Yes. I think in the previous level we also dealt with some like branching path type of thing. It's like you can choose multiple paths, and I think now we have the pre-boss room. Yeah, because of the, you know, they changed the music. You don't recover any health. That's a shame. The first part to this battle is a joke. A very slow guy trying to swing a sword at you, but then he loses some weight all of a sudden. Okay, I was trying to like brute force through it, but you literally take 2 hits and you die. So yeah, you have to be careful. Brute forcing could be useful. I'd rather hit it with the actual whip. It's one of the things that I don't like about Castlevania in general, especially the bosses. You cannot brute force through them because you take a lot of damage. But that's it. At least I'm getting extra lives in case I need to like make a sacrifice and take a death or 2. I'm not sure if this game actually has limited continues. Probably it does have. And I'm done with the half of the regular levels, so I'll do the other 2 next time. Thank you for watching.